by overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 Tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 Tour.
It's time! Let it go!
Bane drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knockaway.
Good defense!
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio. We're in FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready to stay up a little later than normal tonight. Big game inside FedEx Forum. Grizz Timberwolves. Playoff positions for both teams are at stake. It's an 8:30 tip. 90 minutes later than normal. Tickets available. Grizzlies.com. We'll talk through it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. The next segment, about 20 minutes, Mike Wallace is going to join me. Senior editor, Grind City Media. He's got a piece up right now on Jalen Wells' injury. You can find it at grindcitymedia.com. He was in Charlotte for that scary situation a couple of nights ago. Mike Wallace is going to join me. He'll be here in the next segment. When I finish talking to him, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know. At which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, LeBron James has made more history. Congratulations to the King. He's the first ever Barbie Ken-bassador. That means there's going to be a Ken doll.
Nice.
But instead of being Ken, it'll be LeBron James. Congrats to the King. We'll celebrate him in about 40 minutes. Big 12 Player of the Year, JT Toppin, is returning to Texas Tech. The price tag, reportedly, $4 million. What does that mean for Memphis All-American PJ Haggerty? We'll get into it a little later on in the show. Congratulations to CBS Sports legend Verne Lundquist. It has been announced that he'll be this year's recipient of the AutoZone Libertyville's Distinguished Citizen Award. I'll tell you more about that. We'll do it in the third segment. Louis Riddick went on ESPN yesterday and said Cam Ward reminds him of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
That's a nice comparison. I'll ask Bennett if the Titans are about to select the next Patrick Mahomes in the NFL draft. We'll do that in just a bit. And the first round of the Masters is underway in Augusta. I don't have any mascots or anything like that running around the studio, but I can still tell you like how things are going, broadly speaking. We'll do it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with the NBA because last night was a Interesting night in the NBA, in part because every night at this point in the NBA is going to be an interesting night given where we are in the season and how the standings have stacked up. Eventually, we're going to get to the massive game scheduled for tonight inside FedEx Forum. But first, let's start with last night in the NBA because, buddy, what a night last night was
wild.
In the NBA. Final score, Lakers 112, Mavericks 97. That was the big story. In his first trip back to Dallas since Mav GM Nico Harrison nonsensically traded him to the Lakers, Luka Doncic scored 45 points to beat his former team by 15 points. It'll be a long time before you probably see a crowd cheer a visitor torching their own team the way that Dallas crowd last night cheered a visitor, specifically Luka Doncic, while he was murdering the Mavs on national television. But that is what happened. He took 28 shots, made 16 of them, finished with 45 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Just an awesome performance after getting a nice tribute video during player introductions. Big Bet Bennett, did you see the Luka video and his reaction to it? If so, what'd you think?
Oh, I mean, it clearly made it worse. Like if you're a Dallas fan, you want to jump off a bridge. Like that's as bad as it gets. He's crying, like emotional. Like he didn't want to leave there. Like we know that. I would be sick if I was a fan of that team. I would. Just knowing that guy, like, he's one of the best players in the world, wanted to be here, and our people traded him for whatever reason.
When you have...
And I say people because I will be honest with you, dude, and he hasn't said anything yet, right, because he's still, like, his GM there, Nico is, but he can... If this decision was not his and his alone... He cannot just sit on that forever. Like, you can't take the high road there. I think once you're not the GM of the Mavs anymore at some point, you got to make it known if it wasn't your decision and your decision alone. Because you're just standing in the arena, everyone around you's yelling at you, chanting "Fire Nico." Like, that's bad, yeah.
It is unbelievable to me still how much of a self-inflicted, devastating wound this was for that franchise, and specifically Nico Harrison. Clearly, he's the GM, not the owner. Mm-hmm. So somebody else had to sign off on this, if that's what you mean. I don't know that it wasn't his idea. In fact, all indications are that it was his idea.
That it was his idea, sure.
All indications are that he wanted to do this. But the owners at some point had to sign off on it. And that will go down as an all-time great mistake for franchise owners. Like if my general manager came to me as the owner of an NBA franchise, even as a hands-off owner of an NBA franchise, if my general manager came to me and suggested that we should do something like this, I'm not joking or exaggerating. Do you know what I would do? I would fire them. I would fire them right there. And do you want to know why? Because if you think that's a good idea, there is no scenario where I want you running my franchise.
Right.
Like, you've just told me everything I need to know about you. I thought I hired you because you were capable of running this franchise. But even with that suggestion, you have proven to me that you're not. So you're no longer allowed to do this. Not only would I not have signed off on this, had this been brought to me, I would have fired the person that brought it to me. That's how ridiculous it is. It remains insane that this Dallas franchise did this to itself and to its fans. Like, it really might go down as the biggest self-inflicted wound ever inflicted on a professional sports franchise. That is not hyperbole. It has killed company morale in and outside of that franchise's walls. The fans have revolted. Financially, it's devastating. I don't know if you saw this report from Tim McMahon.
I did.
Tim McMahon is reporting at ESPN that the franchise now expects internally, they now expect to lose 9 figures, literally hundreds of millions of dollars over the next few years because of the way the community in Dallas has responded to the Luka trade. Not to mention what it does to your team, but just how the community has responded to it. Hundreds of millions of dollars lost because of this self-inflicted wound. You realize nobody was asking the Mavericks, Hey, you guys home? Interested in trading Luka Doncic? This was not something that was happening. Do you want to know why? Nobody thought it was even something you ask about.
No.
It wasn't even something you call them and ask them if they're interested in doing it. This was all created by them. Nico Harrison got so fed up with what he believed were Luka Doncic's shortcomings, both short-term and long-term, that he made the most irrational decision you could possibly make as it pertains to running an NBA franchise. You have a 25-year-old generational talent who, regardless of what his work ethic might look like, is still one of the 3, 4, 5 best players in the world, consistently year after year after year after year. And you let your personal hatred for him on some level make it where you can't see, as they say, a forest for trees, and you end up making a move that nobody else in the NBA would have made, and that was so outrageous on the surface that when it was reported by the NBA's leading insider, nobody believed it was true.
Right.
Because you couldn't quite wrap your head around the idea that a franchise would do what it is this Mavericks franchise had done. No other franchise would have done this. None. Zero. There's 30 NBA franchises. One would have done this. 29 would have said, I can't even believe you picked up the phone and called me with this. And that's proof enough that the decision was ridiculous. And that franchise is going to pay that price for years.
Man.
For years to come, while the Lakers more than likely continue to make billions while competing for NBA championships with number 77 in the lineup. As for the video, I thought it was sweet. And I thought Luka's reaction was heartfelt. Like he never wanted to leave that place, like you said.
No.
Trae Young tweeted it as well.
I saw that.
Trae Young, who was famously traded for Luka Doncic on a draft night deal. Just like so often when you have a franchise that maybe isn't operating perfectly, the biggest fear is that your star might ask to be moved. They're worried about that right now in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. They're worried about that right now in Denver. That's the biggest fear is like, oh my God, if we don't get this to a great place and then keep it at a great place, then our star might ask to leave. That is a forever fear in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, everybody celebrates Kobe Bryant playing every year he ever played with the Lakers. He was a lifetime Laker. He wanted to leave there. At one point, like, quite literally asked for a trade. They just didn't do it. They ended up getting Pau Gasol, and they made him happy. But he wanted out of there. That is the biggest fear among NBA franchises, that if you do not keep a thing where your star believes it needs to be, or put the people around them that he believes need to be around them, he might someday come to you and say, it's time to get me out of here. Mm-hmm. This happens all over the NBA, literally every single season. Jimmy Butler in Miami, Carmelo Anthony in Denver. The list is forever. And Dallas didn't have any of that. They had a superstar who was just happy being there. Just happy being there. Who are my teammates? Well, one year it's this and this. One year it's Kyrie Irving. One year it's this Klay Thompson. Okay, whatever. I'm happy. This is where I want to be. Put the contract in front of me. I'll sign it. I don't want to leave. He never asked for a trade, never hinted at a trade. And you saw it last night in that video. He was understandably emotional. And I do give the franchise credit for making a big deal out of it because they should have for their fans. Like their fans like that. I mean, it's just insane. Like think about how popular John Morant is here and then like multiply it. That's how popular Luka Doncic was in Dallas and still is in Dallas. And they just, I mean, it's insane. Absolutely insane. Even if you don't like him on a personal level, even if you don't like him from a conditioning perspective, at some point you got to think about what you're doing to your business.
Yes, I mean you're
like,
spitting in the face of your fans.
What are you? Yes, you are. You really are spitting in the face of your fans. You're taking the thing they care about most and shipping it out of there. We hear all the time about cities losing franchises and what it does. You know, the St. Louis losing the Rams, or Seattle losing the Supersonics, Vancouver losing the Grizzlies, right? And there's this hole there. Like here, there's something that we used to care about, and it's no longer here. And so I don't even know what to care about anymore. Like this isn't quite that apples to apples, but like Luka Doncic being shipped out of Dallas is like taking something that mattered intensely there and moving it somewhere else, and you didn't have to. In fact, nobody told you should. Like this was not a thing. You could turn on the TV every once in a while and see people suggesting the Grizzlies should move on from Ja Morant. And just so we're clear, no, they shouldn't. That would be crazy too.
That would be crazy.
But like, there are people out there who say that kind of stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever going to say that about Luka Doncic. Nobody ever said it once. Nobody ever was going to say it. It is incredible. And you saw the way the fans reacted to him last night in that video. And he was emotional. He couldn't even watch part of it. He had to put his head in his hands. He knew it was coming too, because if you go back and watch it from the beginning, you know, he's sitting on the bench, the lights go down, and it's clear they're about to do the video, and he points at somebody and like, hey, get me a towel. He wanted a towel because he knew he was going to need to cover his face at some point, which I don't understand. So he covers his face, I guess because that's a natural instinct. You know, different cultures handle emotions different ways. Like I think the most famous basketball player in tears type of thing we've experienced, certainly in my adult life, as a Memphis community, would be Darius Washington crying inside FedEx Forum after missing those free throws. And you go back and watch that, the thing you notice immediately, he covers his face. Covers his face and drops to his knees. And when Darius subsequently explained that, he just sort of said that he had always been taught, like, you don't show yourself crying. You know, men aren't supposed to cry. And so instinctively, you cover your face. And perhaps that's why Luka grabbed the towel and covered his face for part of that. But he left his face exposed for part of it as well, and you could see the tears coming, and I like all of that. I like emotion. You know, I cry sometimes, both happy tears and the others. I don't mind him showing that. In fact, I like him showing that. I like that being an example for young people. Like, you know, my little guy was asleep by the time we got home, and that we could go back and rewatch that part of it. But like, I did pull my middle son in and like, hey, let's watch this together. I wanted him to see the appreciation those fans showed that player. I wanted him to see the emotion on Luka's face. You know, how nice it must feel to feel wanted, to feel loved. You know, not everybody feels that way going through their life on a day-to-day basis, professional athletes and otherwise. And so all of that was like really neat stuff inside that building last night. Just an emotional night for that Dallas franchise, and one that I don't know that they'll ever recover from. I mean, I know it's a long time. I guess I'm sure they'll recover from it at some point. But every once in a while, people start throwing around like, you know, this is like the Boston Red Sox trading Babe Ruth, and I didn't live through that, so I can't quite make sense of it relative to this. But just know that was held up as the standard forever, and now this is the standard. What is the dumbest, most ridiculous, I can't even make sense of how they did this trade in the history of professional sports? Like, Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers is, it's not going to go down in history at the top of the list. It's going to be right near it, and last night was a reminder of it. So, interesting night. Last night in the NBA, the Lakers won. So did the Nuggets. So did the Clippers. But the Warriors lost somehow.
Shout out. Luka won, the only one getting revenge last night. Shout out Harrison Barnes.
114-111. The Warriors lose to the Spurs. Shouts to Harrison Barnes. So now the Grizz are, if you wanted some standing stuff, alone in 6th in the Western Conference with 3 regular season games remaining. I won't bore you with all of the tiebreakers. Let's just focus on the task at hand. And that's the biggest game of the season to date is scheduled for tonight. It's going to be here inside FedEx Forum. Grizz Timberwolves, 8:30 tip. You can watch it on TNT, True TV, Max, FanDuel Sports Network. Minnesota -1.5.
Okay.
That's the number. Tickets available right now, Grizzlies.com. Grizz enter 47-32. Timberwolves 46-33, which means right now the Grizz are 1 game ahead of Minnesota in the Western Conference standings. Win tonight, 2-game lead over Minnesota, Western Conference standings. Lose tonight, then the Grizz would be tied with Minnesota with 2 games left in the regular season.
Yeah, and they're not losing another game. If they win this game tonight, they're winning the next 2. They're home against Brooklyn and Utah.
Massive game.
It's a massive, massive game.
Massive game.
Yeah.
If the Grizzlies win tonight, they'll be 48-32, tied with the Nuggets and the Clippers for 4th in the West. That's where they'd be when they wake up in the morning. Lose tonight, you drop to 47-33, which would place them into a 3-way tie for 6th in the West with the Warriors and Timberwolves. Again, with 2 games remaining in the regular season. And like you said, the Timberwolves ain't losing again, so that would be bad news. You got your game face on? Let me see your game face, Bennett. Let me see your game face. You got your game face on?
Well, I mean, I have to behave myself at radio.
Let's see your game face if you got one. Okay.
I hated that.
You didn't like that game face?
No, delete that, Jalen.
You needed to.
I didn't like that at all.
Well, you want to take another shot at it? If you got one to show me your game face, I'll look at it.
I don't want to do a game face. I don't want to jinx us. Sorry, that was embarrassing for the entire franchise.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were ready to show me your game face.
So I was looking back at the 2 wins that we got against them, and they both came back in January. That was when Jaren was on a tear, and he went big in both of those games. So hopefully you get a big Jaren performance tonight. We know Brandon Clark has been their kryptonite, so that hurts not having him in this game.
Well, I was about to tell you, you realize he ain't playing.
I know.
Okay.
So
I thought you knew.
So that hurts not having him. But Ja played in both of those games, and he was good. He had a fine, but he didn't have a signature Ja game in either of those. I just wonder. He's been playing well lately. Mm-hmm. I just wonder.
What are you wondering about?
I just feel like 12 might bring some magic tonight.
Big Bet Bennett is predicting 12 magic tonight.
I got a feeling, man. They're giving away the clanker things. I don't have mine. I took them home, but they're giving away the clanker things.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling
Bennett's
we're going to be slamming
Bennett
those
woke up with a feeling.
clanker things together.
Okay.
I think we're getting a big 12 game tonight.
I hope so. Status report, buddy. It looks as good as it could possibly look. The status report looks as good as it could possibly look. Obviously, Brandon Clark, Jalen Wells, Zion Pullen out. Everybody else, good to go. Minnesota's status report, completely clean. Yeah, I wouldn't look at Timberwolves PR like Grizzlies PR. You know what it says? It's like, we're good to go.
We're good to go.
It's just like, we're good. Nothing to report. Yeah. Everybody's available. Anthony Edwards, available. Rudy Gobert is available. Julius Randle is available. Jaden McDaniels is available. And filling out the starting lineup, barring any surprises, our old friend Mike Conley will be available.
I love Mike. Not tonight as much. Not tonight so much.
It's a big one, Bennett. Let me see your game face. That's Bennett's game face. 8:30 tip tonight. FedEx Forum tickets available. Grizzlies.com. Mike Wallace is going to be inside FedEx Forum for it. I'll talk to him next. Watching the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
they knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
Back to Jared for the flash.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3. Yes, sir. Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm inside the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Thursdays, I'm joined by senior editor, Grind City Media. It's the great Mike Wallace joining me now. Mike Wallace, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Good to see you back in the studio. Great run during the NCAA tournament, man. Great work as always, man, and glad you made it back safely.
You're very nice to say that. It is nice to be back home. Before we look ahead to tonight, big game inside FedEx Forum between the Grizz and Timberwolves. Let's back up a couple of nights. You've been in a lot of basketball arenas. I imagine that one will stick with you for a while. It was a scary scene just watching on an iPad from an airplane flying from San Antonio, Texas to Atlanta, Georgia. What was it like being in the building when Jalen Wells was fouled and obviously slow to get up before having to be stretchered out of there? The diagnosis we now know, a broken right wrist.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. I was on the radio call with Eric Hasseltine doing the, color analyst role. And, first and foremost, man, to be, to see that, to call it, it was a great pass from Ja Morant. Ja called it the touchdown play where Jalen streaks down one side of the court, going for, what they hope is a transition fast break opportunity. Ja looks up and sees him and signals touchdown. And he's like, okay, he's going to get a dunk here. And even in Ja's own words, he was trailing after throwing the pass. And just to see a guy go parallel to the floor that high up after being sort of undercut there, it was difficult to see from Ja's perspective. It was difficult to call from our perspective. And I think the thing that stands out to me is that to hear the thud when he hit the floor and then to see him immediately bounce over. You're not. It's not a trampoline. That floor is hard, right? Like you're not supposed to just bounce up like that and turn over. So I knew it was something that was bad, and I was just hoping and praying, man, that this wasn't a head concussion, neck type injury. And it's hard to say this, but man, fortunately, the wrist was the worst thing that he took from that. Everything else is going to heal, according to his time frame. And I'm just happy that he's released back with his family and in good spirits from the last thing I heard about Jalen.
To your point, like it is quite literally called hard wood. That's what we call it, hard wood. And when you hit it that hard, bad things can happen. Obviously, something bad did happen. He has a broken wrist. He's bruised up. He has a facial laceration. But he did avoid the most serious things that could have gone hand in hand with something like that. And for that, obviously, everybody is thankful. Let's talk about it from a basketball perspective. Ja in the locker room after the win in Charlotte said, the franchise has to have a next man up mentality and approach, and I understand that completely. But this does hurt. Vince Williams can slide into that starting lineup and perhaps, have a breakthrough that has avoided him for much of this season. But still, from a depth perspective, if nothing else, this is not ideal. How damaging is it to any sort of aspirations the Grizzlies have this postseason?
I mean, well, you got to keep it rolling, man. I mean, this is a team, and, you're talking about that post-game, availability in Charlotte. And I had a chance to talk to Ja, talk to a couple other players too. And the fact is, I mean, over the last 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, they've lost Brandon Clark and their, the head coach, and now, the rookie who was vying for Rookie of the Year, in terms of those situations. 2 of their top 4 defenders are gone, this team has had quite a blow emotionally and psychologically, just over the stretch run of this season. And, they're not quitting. They're not giving up. They responded with 3 straight victories. These haven't been the 3 greatest teams in the NBA that they've beaten, but the Grizzlies have had to find a way to get back to that confidence that they've been playing with. So, yes, to answer your first question, Vince Williams Jr. was supposed to be the guy that was penciled in as that starter before Jalen Wells emerged. And now Vince has gone through his own injury issues all season long, and he had an illness that he missed a few games with. He was back in the lineup Tuesday. And, he told me the other night, look, man, I have to take advantage of this opportunity. I have to, my body is what it is. It's not going to be 100%, and it won't be this season, but I have an opportunity right now to step up when this team needs me the most. And right now is that time. So I would expect, Vince Williams to get his share of opportunities there. You elevate a guy, Lamar Stevens is a guy that can be tough as a defensive player on the perimeter, a little more physicality over there. Luke Kennard has to step up in this moment right there. They need him right now. Gigi Jackson and Santi Aldama are also the guys that can round out and either slide down from guard to wing or slide up from power rotation onto the wing as well to cover that spot at the 3.
So after a little losing streak, the Grizz are now on a winning streak. They've won 3 straight. What's been the biggest component to that in your mind? Is it just the schedule or something bigger than that?
I think it's the schedule. Obviously, the Charlotte Hornets aren't going anywhere. They didn't even have Nurkic available, and that night because it was a back-to-back for them. So, they were a team that was playing with a bunch of end of the rotation guys, two-way guys. KJ Simpson was a two-way guy that was on the other end of that play with Jalen Wells, and young rotation players. So you take that one with a grain of salt, but you still go in there and do what you have to do. I think the biggest thing has been the rebounding, the offensive rebounding, and all of that is really predicated around Zach Edey and the physicality that he's been able to play with now for 3 straight games. When you talk about Miami, Detroit, and Charlotte, the Grizzlies have controlled the glass. They won the rebounding battle in all of those games, and Zach Edey has come up with some monster performances. In addition to Ja Morant finding his groove and finding his rhythm, he won the game in Miami. He was big time in Charlotte, and then you got some production from Desmond Bane as well too. So you're finding a balance. You're rebounding and you're defending a little bit better, especially inside.
So tonight, Timberwolves in town, obviously a massive game for both franchises, each of which is trying to avoid the play-in tournament. Both still have a shot at finishing in the top 6. Neither is guaranteed to finish in the top 6. The status reports for both teams are as good as they could possibly be. Obviously, Brandon Clark and Jalen Wells, the 2 important pieces on the Grizzlies side, not only out, but presumably, and certainly with Brandon, I don't think it's been announced with Jalen yet, but presumably both out for the season. So that status report's going to look like that for a while. On Minnesota's side, they clean. Nothing bothering them. They're full strength, ready to go. This is about as big as it gets this deep in the calendar for regular season. I heard Jessica talking about it this morning, and no, this is not, quote, a playoff basketball game. But for all intents and purposes, it kind of is.
Oh, yeah, it is, because it's going to directly impact the playoffs. If the Grizzlies win this game, number one, they stay at 6, which is key. From that standpoint, they end up in a 3-way tie with Denver and the Los Angeles Clippers. And then the 3-way tie, the Grizzlies don't, trump either one of those teams. But coming on the back end of winning this game, you go to Denver. Denver looked good last night, but this is a team that, again, is going through its own turmoil. So, you can't get a more difficult schedule at the end of the season. The NBA didn't do the Grizzlies any favors by any stretch of the imagination. They're about to embark on a stretch where they play 3 games in 66 hours. That's 3 games in 66 hours. 8:30 start tonight. You got a 7 p.m. local start in Denver, going a time zone away in altitude. And then you come back from that a day and a half later with a 2:30 start locally on Sunday. So this is going to be, a difficult stretch for the Grizzlies, no matter who the competition is. But all 3 of these teams that they face are playing for something, and so is the Grizzlies.
Obviously, the story from a couple of nights ago was the injury to Jalen Wells. But, a sidebar, as we say as old newspaper guys, would be Zach Edey grabbing 19 more rebounds in the past 2 games. Now 40 rebounds. He's averaging a double-double since the coaching change. What have you seen from him specifically that's allowed him to go from where whatever he was to whatever he is now. Obviously, opportunity, it starts there, but he's also like looking or appearing to be more comfortable than he was for a pretty significant amount of time.
You know, at the beginning of the season, it was defined by Ja Morant saying, you know, a happy Ja is a scary Ja. I think the end of this season is going to be defined by, you know, Zach Edey having a smile on his face and finding his joy for 7'4", 300 pounds. And the thing about it is that he's averaging 30 minutes a game over this last 5, right? So, you know, this is, he told me, look, this is more like what I did at Purdue. Like all of the things that you're seeing me do now, the 20 rebounds, you know, the putbacks, the dunking in the post, the ceiling on the high screens and rolling to the baskets. That was my game for the last 2-3 years at Purdue. And although he's not getting the touches and the post entry touches that he did at Purdue, he's finding other ways to be effective. And that's a combination. He said it's all about the trust that Tuomas Isalo is extended to him, and he wants to reward that trust, and that's why he's continuing to be physical. By playing the high screen and roll, that allows Zach to put his body on another guy and get physical from the very start of the offense and then crash straight into the paint to make himself a target. And no one finds you better than Ja Morant, right? So it's one of those situations where it's the perfect storm of Ja refining his game and his joy, and big man Zach Edey being the recipient of all of those looks and all of the production that he's getting in the post.
When you look at the Timberwolves heading into this one, do you focus on what happened to them a couple of nights ago and say they were outscored 40-13 by Milwaukee in the fourth quarter, so like they're ready to get got, or they were outscored 40-13 in the fourth quarter by Milwaukee? That has to be a wake-up call. They'll come up. They'll be ready to go right from the opening tip. Can you draw anything from what happened to them in those final 12 minutes the other night?
Nah, man, because so much happens between games in the NBA. Like the mentality of where Minnesota was 2 nights ago really pales in comparison. The Grizzlies 2 nights ago were in a different space as well, too. What I do know is that Minnesota finds a way to collapse against the Grizzlies, and they have to get over that hump against Memphis. And I think in their minds, they're saying, okay, look, even though that playoff series was a couple of years ago, even if you look at just this season, the 2 games that these teams have played were both defined by what came down to the last possession and the last shot. Anthony Edwards had it both times and couldn't come up. The first time, Brandon Clark was on the defensive switch and denied him and gave him a hard look up in Minnesota. The second time, it was Jalen Wells. And guess what? Neither one of those guys are available to contest and switch out and contend Anthony Edwards tonight. So somebody else has to be able to step up and do that. Maybe it's Vince Williams, maybe it's Scottie Pippen, maybe it's a combination of different guys. But I think Minnesota is hungry to get over the hump against the Grizzlies. And I know the Grizzlies are desperate to win. With this game right here could easily, when we look back on it come Sunday evening, will be the game that will have locked the Grizzlies into the number 6 and they can avoid the play-in. Or if it goes the other way, this is the game that will determine, you know, hey, they're going to have to play in the play-in and work their way out of it from there.
Last thing before I let you go, you mentioned Ja Morant earlier. Around the country, most people are focused on his three-point celebrations, one of which got a $75,000 fine, the other of which, the most recent one, is just undeniably hilarious. Just hilarious. Like I understand some of the Ja criticism sometimes.
Yeah.
That was just funny. That was just hilarious. Either way, as we sit here right now, in addition to all of that, he is playing some of the best basketball of his entire career in the month of April so far. And it's a small sample size, just 3 games, but he's averaging more than 31 points, shooting above 50% from the field and 48% from three-point range. What have you seen from Ja Morant as this regular season comes to a close?
You know, John told me in Charlotte, listen, man, I feel good. You know, I said, and I had to craft a question in a certain way, because with Ja, when anything you ask him, he automatically is going to go contrarian, right? Or he's going to go defensive almost in a good way or otherwise. But so what I said was, listen, man, I know the last person you want to talk about is yourself right now. But if you look at these last 10 to 15 games that you've been healthy enough to play, your numbers are off the chart, man. It seems like where you are right now is as good as you've been in a long time in a Grizzlies uniform. What has gone into that? And the first thing he says is, look, man, I'm just being Ja. This is who I am now. I'm going to be, I made a decision with everything that has gone on, everything that I've gone through, to be myself first and foremost. And then secondly, to block out the noise. So later on, he described what the new, sort of celebration is. And I know he understood that, the other gesture landed him in hot water again. And from the league's perspective, they've warned him about that kind of thing. So now he said, listen, this is what I'm going to do. And these are in Ja's words. He said, it's not what you think it is. He said, I'm taking my words and I'm throwing them out there. I'm speaking Ja. I'm being Ja. I'm going to take my words. I'm going to throw them out there. And then I'm going to block out the noise. And that's what I'm doing. So when you see me do that, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying what I got to say to the world, and I'm blocking out the noise in the midst that's coming back my way. And that's how it's going to be. And so we all, I got a laugh out of it. He was funny. He said it with a serious, straight face. I was like, all right, cool, man. That's how it is. But that's where Ja is right now. He's in a good space, and he knows what's at stake, and his body's feeling good right now. And you just ride it out as much as you can, until things get to the playoffs, and we'll see who they match up with from there.
8:30 tip tonight inside FedEx Forum. Grizzlies and Timberwolves. Tickets available at grizzlies.com. Inside the arena, Mike Wallace will be there. Go check out his latest column. You can find it at grindcitymedia.com. Even in recovery, Wells provides Grizzlies inspirational boost as key stretch looms. Mike Wallace wrote it. You can read it, grindcitymedia.com. Thanks for your time, buddy. I'll see you in a little while.
All right, anytime, man. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, bye-bye. That's Mike Wallace from Grind City Media. When we come back, turn our attention to Tiger basketball. PJ Haggerty remains technically uncommitted for next season, not in the transfer portal yet. Transfer portal doesn't close until April 22nd, but still hasn't publicly stated that he's absolutely returning to the University of Memphis. Meantime, at least one All-American got a big payday yesterday. That's the headline that'll tie us to this story. J.T. Toppin down at Texas Tech, $4 million. If a J.T. Toppin costs $4 million, what does a P.J. Haggerty cost? We'll discuss it right after this break.
Honor of George Foreman. Decided to do a pick six on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like, if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Big college basketball headline from Wednesday afternoon. JT Toppin, the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year, has decided to stay out of the 2025 NBA draft, even though he was possibly going to be a first-round pick and return to Texas Tech for another year of college basketball. The price tag on that, reportedly, $4 million. Assuming that is true, that would be the biggest number publicly ever connected to a college basketball player. I bring this up not because I think everybody watching and listening are huge Texas Tech and or Big 12 fans, but because JT Toppin was a consensus second-team All-American. I actually voted him first-team All-American, but for the most part, he's a consensus second-team All-American, just like Memphis guard P.J. Haggerty. So, Bennett, if JT Toppin costs $4 million, it certainly lends some credence to the idea that P.J. Haggerty really might be worth roughly $3 million at least in this market via the transfer portal. As we talked about yesterday, it's just a very, very expensive time to be trying to build college basketball rosters, and Memphis is in a situation where unless it enhances its NIL budget from where it was last year, and reportedly last year it was around $4.5 million total, unless Memphis is able to enhance that significantly, it is either going to have to spend the overwhelming majority of its budget on one player or watch that player go play basketball somewhere else.
You know, and like you look at these, like obviously if it makes sense for him to come back at that $4 million, because you would make more. Correct me if I'm wrong. He would make more in a single year with that $4 million than he would in a single year as a rookie, even though he would have more years and more money attached to a rookie deal.
Maybe, depending on where he would draft. There's a rookie scale, and I believe unless he was drafted in like the top 12, he will now make more money at Texas Tech next season than he would have made in the rookie.
Yeah, like now, Baylor Shireman, who was drafted with the last pick in the first round, he's 4 years over $12 million, but he's making like, you know, a little north of $2 million this year.
Yes. Yeah. Here's what I believe is true. I believe JT Toppin would not have been selected in the 2025 NBA draft to make more money next season than he is now going to make at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Now, there's a counter argument to that says, but if you're focused on that, you're not focused on the big picture. The most important thing is to get your clock started so that you can reach free agency. Every year you're not in the draft, it's a year later that you're going to reach free agency for the first time, and that's where your first big payday comes if you're quote-unquote betting on yourself.
Gotcha.
So by staying in school, you're delaying that possible big payday. But also, like the counter-argument to that is...
Here's $4 million right now.
That's right. Yeah. That's the counter-argument to that. Buddy ain't worried about my free agency clock.
Right.
You know, a year and a half ago, I was playing at New Mexico for like $30,000.
Yeah.
Okay? Somebody's offering me $4 million right now. I'll take it. And so if you're wondering why $4 million? Like, what, you know, is that really what Texas Tech had to pay? Is it really $4 million for JT Toppin? Part of the negotiation was this, I'm told. Grant McCaslin, the people in Texas Tech involved in this decision-making process, they bring in JT Toppin and his agent and the people, and you know what they say? Let's end this right now. I know you're getting ready to declare for the NBA draft while maintaining your amateur status and going through the process and going to get feedback. Let's end this now. Can we give you $4 million and you just don't declare for the draft? Don't even test the waters. Here's $4 million. You test the waters and then decide to come back.
We might not have $4 million.
We might not have $4 million, but we got it right now. Do you want this money right now? If you go test the waters JT, I know this is the way they do it. JT, we know how good you are. If you go test the waters, you're probably going to get picked. All right? We're scared that if you go test the waters, you're going to find out they want you, and then you're going to leave. So while you go test the waters, we're going to take this money and go spend it somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right? So but we want you. How about this? How about we just give you this $4 million and let's get on with it? But if you go test the waters, I'm just telling you, I mean, we'd love to have you, but we'll see where we're at.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can wait 6 weeks for you to make a decision. Because then if you stay in the draft, then we're screwed. But we'll give you $4 million right now. Just say wreck them, enroll in some summer classes, or don't. I don't care. But don't get into the draft. Here's $4 million. If you enter the draft, it might not be here for you, but you can take it right now. How you saying no to that?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
Yeah,
I don't think you can either. When JT Toppin reasonably could have been picked 15th or 32nd, you really don't know. 15th or 32nd, you really don't know. Just take the $4 million and come back and be the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year, a consensus first-team All-American. Whereas you slip to 32nd in the draft or 38th, you could be bouncing back between an NBA franchise and a G League franchise. You're on commercial flights, row 27D on a Delta flight, flying to Austin to play in front of nobody, and then you got a game in South Haven tomorrow night? Or do you want to play in front of a sold-out arena every night, every game on national television, and you're maybe the preseason National Player of the Year for $4 million?
Sounds pretty good.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy
Sounds
decision. Easy decision. Now you circle back to Memphis.
Yeah.
Because this is what Memphis, these conversations, not to that degree, but like Memphis has got to be having conversations like this with PJ Haggerty. Like, what will it take for you to just tweet, I'm staying at Memphis. I'm returning to Memphis for one more season. Can we get that done right now?
And you know what? I've thought about it too, GP. Like, I told you all the reasons yesterday why, like, I hope they can get that done and why I think they will. Because we talked about, like, what does it do for the rest of your roster? I mean, that's a ton of money tied up into one player. I do think that there's also something that comes along with, like, what the rest of the college basketball world thinks about you if you're able to get that done. As in just you're considered big time. You just are.
I think it's a little more nuanced than that. Let's just play off of the number that has been reported that Memphis was operating with in NIL last year. The number's $4.5 million. You can believe that number, not believe that number, but that number is the reported number, $4.5 million. Here's what I would tell you. Let's say that's a hard cap, and I don't think it is. I want to be clear, but let's just say we're having a hypothetical conversation right now. Let's say that Penny Hardaway has $4.5 million to spend on a roster and not a penny more. That's all that's there. It's like, think of it as a hard cap. You have $4.5 million, and that's all you can spend, not a penny more. I don't believe that's true. I'm just saying, if that were the case, and it really costs $3 million to keep PJ Haggerty, it might be smart to let him go rather than spend $3 million of the $4.5 million you have on one player. At that point, it might be smarter to let him go. What I hope is true is that the money people connected to the program can sort of think of this as two totally different things. We need enough money to roster build after we get PJ Haggerty back. But the first step is getting PJ Haggerty back at whatever the price. And just know that this isn't going to be a thing every year because Memphis is not going to be in a position every year to bring back a second-team All-American.
Right.
All right? So we're not going to have to do this every year. But right now, when Penny's career as a college head coach has never been in a better place, like coming off of what I believe was his best season ever, where people still want to believe that he can be the guy to take this to all the places we want it to go. We don't want to then create a situation where he loses his best player and one of the best players in the country over money. So do we really want to spend $7 million on a basketball team next season when we're only drawing like 7,000 fans a game? No, that's probably not money well spent, like if you were running a business.
Yeah.
But this isn't a normal business. This is Tiger basketball. And we have to allow Penny to keep his best player at whatever the price, and then also allow him to have enough money left over to roster build around him.
And the hope would
that's what I hope is true.
And the hope would also be that the fans would come along with that because, like I said yesterday, you have more of a connection to this team coming in. Like on paper, you're going to be good because you have one of the best players in the country, and hopefully you build around it. And as opposed to the start of this season when there wasn't as much excitement, I think going into next season, there's a lot more excitement. Like you're coming off an NCAA tournament appearance, winning the conference tournament, winning the conference regular season outright. You bring back one of the best players in the country. Now you've got some real momentum going into the season, and then you hope that the crowds come with it.
You can hope.
Yeah.
That's probably all you're doing, though. Probably just hoping. There's no evidence to support that part of it. Like
we've seen them get behind we've seen them get behind hyped up teams.
How? They just had a team that got a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament and won the conference championship, and they couldn't get anybody to come to the games. I mean, you saw that, right?
I did. Well, yeah, but I mean, I think that's more along the lines of the conference.
Well, the conference ain't changing.
I know.
The conference ain't changing. You know that, right? The conference ain't changing
because there was people at the big games.
Like what you're saying to me right now is,
I got it.
If Memphis has PJ Haggerty and a good team, then the crowds will follow. Memphis had PJ Haggerty and a good team this past season. The crowds did not follow. There is no evidence whatsoever that Memphians care about watching the University of Memphis play football games and basketball games against AAC competition. There's just no evidence to support it. We can all still love the Tigers and hope they do well, but like, am I going to scoop my family up and go buy 4 tickets to sit and watch Memphis play Rice? No, I'm not. I haven't, and I won't. I'm not interested in that. And there's a lot more Memphians like me than there are like the ones you're hoping for. And that's a real problem. But that's a problem independent of what we're talking about.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, keep it in mind, and I know, like, outlier, but, like, they were playing horrible teams back in the day when they were awesome. And
different time.
A lot of people. I got it.
Different time.
It. I think you can get it back. That's all I'm saying. I think I think you can get that back. I do.
I do not think Memphis basketball will ever look the way Memphis basketball used to look as long as it's in this league, period.
I think that's fair. I think it can be better than last season.
Maybe, but it'll never be what it was.
Okay.
And you have lost a decade of kids. You've lost a decade of kids who, I mean, the last time Memphis was Memphis basketball, let's just speak factually. Last time Memphis was in the Sweet 16 was 2009. 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
16 years ago. There are kids in college. There are kids at the University of Memphis right now who have no memory of John Calipari coaching the Tigers. We do.
Right.
It seems like it was just yesterday.
No, that's true.
There are University of Memphis students right now who cannot tell you about the time they remember watching Derrick Rose on television. They have no memory of that. That is a thing that you and I sitting around talking about Derrick Rose and Chris Douglas-Roberts and John Calipari is like our parents sitting around talking about Larry Finch and Gene Bartow.
Oh, my God.
Like, that's what it is.
Oh, my God.
Like,
Please don't say that.
Like, that's a cool thing to talk about, but we didn't see that. There are adults right now who didn't see any of that. Something has been lost, and I'm not telling you it can't be regained. I'm just saying it will never be regained while Memphis is playing in this league. Memphis just had a top 20, let's just keep it factual.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis just had a top 25 football team and a top 25 basketball team. Like that, or almost never, that might never happen for a lot. That's not normal to operate outside of the traditional power structure and be top 25 in those two sports. It's not normal. It will not be the norm. But it was true this season, and it didn't matter as far as attendance. It had no positive impact in any sort of tangible way on attendance at all. So that's my concern. And I don't mean to get off on this again. I got it. I'm just saying, what you're saying makes sense in a normal business model. Like, if we invest in this, then the fans will show up. We talked about this when it happened a few years ago. The Padres did this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went out and added.
Got everybody. Machado.
They went out and bought all these players, and the mindset was, people say a market like us can't spend like this because we can't pay for it. But what if we spend like this and then the fans show up and then it's paid for?
They're paying for it, yeah.
And it actually it worked temporarily. Then the team just didn't do as well as it should have done. But they had Juan Soto and Manny Machado and all these players, and all of a sudden the fans were filling up that park, and it was really
right.
It really did do what you're suggesting this could do. I'm just saying in this market, there's no evidence that will work. Like if it were as simple as if Penny has a good team, the fans will be there, then we would have seen that this past year. Mm-hmm. The fans just weren't there. You ready? The fans weren't even there as much as they were the year before. So I am not operating under the illusion that if you bring back P.J. Haggerty and then roster build around him, Memphis is going to sell 15,000 season tickets or even 10,000 season tickets. I'm just saying there's nothing we can do about that. The most important thing right now, if you're an athletic department official and or a booster / business in this market who cares deeply about the program and Penny Hardaway specifically, like if you're somebody who can't stand the idea of ever getting to a day where you might have to fire Penny Hardaway, then you need to do everything you can to set him up to succeed. And the only way to do that right now is by throwing money at it. And if you put him in a position where he's got to spend the overwhelming majority of his money on one player, you're setting him up to not succeed. And so what I hope happens here is the people who have the money to actually do what we're talking about. And I don't even want to put names out there because we put a lot of pressure on these businesses. This is not this is not Ohio State University.
Right.
This is the University of Memphis. It is not the wealthiest, university, certainly not in the wealthiest city. But they do have some strong corporate partners and people who care about it deeply. And thank God for those people. And so what I hope is in this weird time of chaos within college athletics, that the people recognize, the people with the power to do this recognize, we're not always going to be in a spot where we got to pay $3 million just to get an All-American player back, but that's where we're at right now. And it's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're not going to be in a position to spend $7 million, $8 million on a roster every single year, but we're going to give Penny whatever he needs to bring back P.J. Haggerty, and then we're going to give him enough money to roster build around him in a way where he never has to say, well, the reason we're struggling this season is because I spent 80% of my budget on one player and I couldn't put good players around him. Mm-hmm. That's not where you want to be. That's what Rutgers did this past season. They spent all of their money on 2 players and couldn't roster build around them. You've got to have better balance than that. And hopefully the community leaders who, again, have the power and the wealth to make that a reality, hopefully they come through because, again, the big headline, JT Toppin yesterday, a second-team All-American just like P.J. Haggerty, he's reportedly getting $4 million to go back to school, which underlines sort of what the market will be for P.J. Haggerty if he decides to truly test it.
Number 2.
In less important news, LeBron James
This is
now
not less important
LeBron
news.
James is now a Ken doll. He's a Ken doll. The king is a Ken doll.
That's right.
King Ken doll. That's
Look
him.
at that.
Look at LeBron James.
We got to find out who the real King James fans are, all right? I know I'm one. I already own LeBron toys.
But will you own a LeBron Ken doll?
Absolutely.
Do you own Barbies?
I do not own a Barbie. No, I do not own a Barbie.
If your boys asked you to play with Barbies, would you buy them for them? How you doing? How you handle that in the year 2025? What do you think? How you handle that? 2025. Noah says, Dad, I'd like a Barbie from Target. What you doing?
That has happened before.
Okay, so what are we doing?
I said no.
Well, why?
I don't know.
You don't know why?
Maybe that's something I should.
Maybe it's something you need to think about.
Need to look
you might need to do some soul searching.
Yeah.
It might be time for you to do some soul searching. You think it's time for you to look in the mirror? Do some soul searching?
But, okay, hang on.
Okay.
I'll buy him a LeBron Ken doll.
Why? Why will you buy him a LeBron Ken doll but not a Barbie doll?
You know, it's a fair question.
Yeah, what's your fair answer?
I just have to reflect and think on it.
You need a little time?
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that question. And number 2 of 5 more things, so I'll have to think on it.
I'll give you a little time.
Yeah.
We'll revisit it. We'll revisit this another day. My boys do not own Barbies either.
Yeah.
My boys don't own Barbies.
I believe we have a couple in the house, though, actually. That,
don't
his
try to,
friend
don't,
had given him and stuff.
yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I don't think my boys have any Barbie dolls, but I believe if they asked for them, I believe I'd just be like, I try not to make it weird. I try not to make it as weird as you seem to have made it.
I don't think I made it weird.
Yeah.
I don't think I made it weird.
My little guy does like, while he's playing baseball, to wear like he's got a pink armband and like he had pink spikes.
My kid likes pink.
And he likes the color pink.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
You sure?
I don't think so.
Seemed like you thought so, maybe.
I did not, okay? First off, Barbies are expensive.
Yeah. Now it's a price thing? Now it's a price thing. You would buy your son's Barbies if not for the tariffs. But the tariffs have made this...
My kid has played with Barbies.
Oh, come on, Bennett. You would keep changing your story every few minutes.
I had girl cousins. They had Barbies. I played with them when I was little.
What'd you do with a Barbie?
Nothing. Nothing. It's just when I feel kids go to other kids' houses and there's just toys.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess.
And so you just play with whatever toys are around.
I guess so. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been over at somebody's house playing with toys. I don't really know.
I wish I wouldn't have even put this story in here now. I regret this story.
It's a good-looking Ken doll, right? The first ever. This is the first Ken-bassador. That's what they call it.
Yes.
Like an ambassador, but a Ken-bassador. This is the first ever Ken-bassador. LeBron James. He made history once again. The king just stays making history. Will not have a penis, if you were wondering. Were you wondering?
Well, no. I know the answer.
You know the answer to what?
Well, there's nothing down there.
How you know that?
Because I've seen a Barbie before.
You been looking down there?
Bro, are you kidding me?
What are you looking down there for, weirdo?
Like every household has a freaking like Barbie with its head, all the hair ripped off and like an arm missing or whatever, no clothes. Like you've seen the Barbie.
What are you looking down there for?
Dude, you've seen what a Barbie doll looks like. All right. Am I crazy here?
Yeah, but what you looking down there for?
I'm not looking. It's just like thrown around the house. Like
earlier, you didn't have any Barbies in your house. Now you've got headless ones thrown around your house. Which one is it?
No, I told you there's a Barbie in our house. I think there's like 2 or 3 Barbies in the house.
Then why are you looking down there?
Dude, everyone knows what I'm talking about, okay?
Sounds like you're in a big game of Doctor at your house.
No, it's just a smooth...
You've been playing Doctor?
It's just a smooth...
Have you been playing Doctor?
No, it's just a smooth surface down there, all right? It just is, all right? Did anyone see the Barbie movie?
I saw the Barbie movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah,
Great movie.
Of course it was.
So no, I don't believe there will be anything down there.
They said there's not going to be.
No, it's going to be a smooth surface.
It's just going to be a little smooth surface.
Yes.
Do you think Ken dolls should have... Do you think they should have penises? You have any thoughts on that?
Do I think that the Ken dolls should have... No, I do not.
You don't believe that?
No.
The argument is that it would be uncomfortable for children to play with something if there was a ding-a-ling there.
I agree.
And also dangerous.
I think it's totally fine for girls to play with Barbies, boys to play with Barbies. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Okay.
Whatsoever.
You've come around on that. That's nice to hear.
I told you my kid has played with Barbies. Like it's okay. I just said I didn't buy him one when he asked me to buy him one at Target one time. Okay.
Take it. They'll work it out in therapy. Don't worry about it. He'll work it out in therapy later on. Don't worry about it. They'll work it out in therapy. They say it's dangerous.
My wife is going to be so pissed. She doesn't see this segment.
Who's she going to be mad at, me or you?
Me.
Why you?
Me.
Why you? I thought it might be me. I thought it might be
you too. It might be you too, actually. Yeah.
I thought she could be mad at both of us, all right?
Okay.
The argument is that it would be uncomfortable for children to see a penis.
I completely agree with that.
I think I do too, if I'm really being honest with you.
Yes, I completely agree.
But Barbie has boobs. Why are boobs okay, but penises aren't?
She doesn't really, though.
She does have boobs.
I know what you mean.
You've seen them, right?
Well, yeah, but
why are you looking at Barbie's boobs?
They're not.
Why are you looking at Barbie's boobs so much?
More, I mean, again, it's like just a. I guess there is something there.
You can feel them. Like if you rub your hand, like your hand would go like. If you were, your hand would go like. Your hand would go like this.
I understand, but it's not really a boob.
Well, it's not a real boob, Bennett. Of course, it's not a real boob. Did you expect a Barbie doll to have a real boob?
No, but I'm saying like it's just like it's a surface. It's just like like we said, it's a flat surface. I'm uncomfortable talking about this. I really am. I don't even think it's funny anymore. I hate this.
You brought it up.
I hate everything
you
about
brought
this.
it up. You're the one that wanted to talk about this. I didn't know what else to talk about. I didn't know what this is your story, and I don't know what to talk about it other than let's explore some stuff.
Listen, if my kid wants the LeBron Barbie, or Ken, is it a Ken doll or is it just a LeBron Barbie doll?
He's a Ken ambassador.
Oh, a Ken ambassador.
It would be like if Ken turned into to LeBron.
I just hope people are more responsible with these dolls than they were with the LeBron Space Jam dolls.
Where they pulled his head off.
Yeah, I got a pic. Jalen, throw that picture up on there.
I do remember this. People would go to like Walmart and just rip LeBron's head off.
And they would sell them on like eBay.
What a wild thing. What a wild time.
I remember going to Walmart and it looked just like that. All the heads were ripped off.
That was a wild ride.
Yeah.
That was a wild ride.
That was a wild time.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's keep LeBron's Ken head on, and they'll be available at your local Walmart or Target pretty soon, I guess. And if Bennett's boys play their cards right, maybe they can get one. If old dad will be a little more open-minded.
Dad is open-minded.
Congratulations to Verne Lundquist. He's going to be honored by the AutoZone. He's going to get the Distinguished Citizen Award. How about that?
Oh, nice.
Verne Lundquist at the age of 30, Distinguished Citizen Award, honored by the Liberty Bowl. Obviously, there's a long list of incredible people who have gotten this award previously, from Danny Thomas to Priscilla Presley to Bear Bryant, Bobby Bowden, and Peyton Manning, Dick Vitale, Tim McCarver, Steve Spurrier, Lou Holtz. And now Verne Lundquist, my former colleague, will also be honored. I don't really know Verne. We, quote, worked together for years, but I don't think I ever really worked with him. I was around him some, but I will tell you the reason I bring this up is because I like it when people don't disappoint you. Because I think people watch Verne on television for years. We grew up with him, like on the SEC, on CBS. He called those games for a long time, up until Brad Nessler took over. And he's obviously been a staple in the Masters. He did college basketball games. I like it when, because people have watched Verne for years, and he just seems like a lovable old man. You know, he's like, sort of a big old man. You just want to hug him.
Yep.
And everybody seems to just love him. I think what you think when you watch Verne Lundquist is like, man, I bet I'd love Verne Lundquist. He seems like just the best guy in the world. And I say all that to say, by all accounts, he is. Everybody I know who worked with him, they swear by him. They love him to pieces. He is exactly as he appears to be. And so sometimes you see people get what amounts to lifetime achievement awards toward the end of their life, and you don't know whether they've been the best guy in the world or the worst guy in the world. Recently, I guess it was last month, John Feinstein abruptly died. A longtime author, and I did know John, and I like John, and he was obviously an incredibly talented guy. But it was interesting to hear some of the comments, as people were, quote, paying their respects. There wasn't a lot of warmth in the statements about him. There wasn't much warmth in there. It was like, he was really good writer. Man, he could really write a book. He could really tell a story. But you didn't hear a lot of great stories and man, he was just the best and the nicest and the kindest, and that sort of stood out. And whenever we get to that day, and I hope it's a million years from now, but you'll hear nothing but great stories, just one after another, really warm, beautiful stories that people have from interactions with Verne from all walks of life, decades and decades and decades. And so he'll be in Memphis later on this year to be honored by the Liberty Bowl, and I look forward to seeing him when he's here.
Number 4.
People are falling in love with Cam Ward, Big Bet Bennett, as the Titans prepare to probably make him their franchise quarterback. He is now being compared to Patrick Mahomes. Do you believe the Titans are about to select the next Patrick Mahomes?
No, I don't. But I will say that, you always see, this time of year around the draft, people getting off their hot takes about the draft and comparing guys to other guys. And a lot of times it can make you want to roll your eyes. I will say, dude, when Louis Riddick says something, that does get my antennas up, because that guy knows ball. And when he said that, I was like, okay. I mean, I really did like that. When he gives player comps and breaks down players' games and stuff, I think he's one of the smartest guys there on the NFL. And so when I saw that clip of him talking about comparing Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes, and he obviously added some context to it, but the clip's just going viral now because you compared Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes.
That's right.
But when he talks, man, I listen, and so I was excited about
Here's
that.
why it might mean something to me.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. I don't follow the NFL analysts as closely as I do the NBA analyst or the college basketball analyst. But I gather people do like Louis Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gather he's not the type that just says wild stuff all the time just to say it, right?
He's not.
You have to know, as somebody who talks on television, that when you go on television, particularly ESPN, and compare a quarterback prospect to Patrick Mahomes, you know what you're getting yourself into. You know that this is going to get clipped. You know that this is going to become a thing. You know that this is going to be an all-day topic on sports talk radio in Nashville today. They're probably texting you nonstop, trying to see if you'll come on and expand on that thought.
Right.
I think Louis Riddick is too smart to say something like this just all willy-nilly.
Yes.
You don't put a quarterback's name in the same sentence as Mahomes unless you're ready to put both feet on the ground and stand on it and say, no, I really believe this young man's special. And the Titans are about to draft somebody who is going to be their version of Patrick Mahomes for many years to come. If you're going to say that, you better believe it. It doesn't mean he'll be right.
Please.
There's not a draft analyst in the world who has been wrong about all sorts of things, right? Doesn't mean he's right, but I do believe he believes it. And if I were a Titans fan like you, Bennett, that's the type of stuff I would like to hear.
I'm all the way in now.
Okay, Bennett's
I'm all the way in. Yeah, I'm all the way in. I told you when you asked me right after the end of the regular season when we knew they were going to get the number one pick who I would take, I said Shedeur Sanders, just off the cuff, like without doing my research and everything. But like clearly everyone has, for the most part, decided that Cam Ward is the better quarterback prospect in this draft.
It feels like that.
And way smarter people than me, so who am I to argue?
Bennett says he's not going to argue with Louis Riddick or anybody else.
I'm in, man.
Bennett says he's happy. He's excited.
Go.
First time he's been excited about the Titans in a little while. I hope it works out for you.
Number 5.
The Masters is underway down in Augusta. That means we get Masters updates from the big studio a little later on today.
Yes, it'll be fun.
That'll be a fun time. So I won't bore you with the leaderboard. Just know that the most interesting thing that's happening right now, Scottie Scheffler is on the course, world number 1, and he is 2 under through 7, 2 shots off the lead. But if you're gambling on anybody other than Scottie Scheffler, about the last thing you want to see is him 2 under through 7. Like the only way you beat,
I feel like such an idiot.
The only way you don't end up with Scottie Scheffler winning the thing is if he doesn't get off to a great start, typically. I mean, he's just better than everybody else. This is a sport where rarely is somebody just better than everybody else so clearly. Tiger was that, obviously, for a long time.
Yep.
But this is not a sport where just one guy is better than everybody else too often. There's usually like 4 or 5 guys, and they're all pretty similar. But Scottie has separated. He's just better than everybody else at this. This is the game millions and millions and millions of people play all over the world, and he's clearly just the best at it, even better than everybody else he plays with. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to win every golf tournament because nobody can do that, even Tiger in his prime. But if you're trying to watch him lose, you don't need him getting off 2 under through 7 because you need him to throw up at least one bad round because he's on a different level. And he knows this course, and he's won here before, and right now he's sitting at tied for 3rd. 2 shots off the lead, 2 under through 7. Vernon will tell you everything else that's going on. We'll do that in the next hour. Be back with GP's Carry Up.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
By King. Wheels through the lane, now spins back. Ja hangs, puts it in! Oh, what a shot by Morant! with a monster block.
Grammy, Academy, and Golden Globe Award-winning superstar, Mary J. Blige, live in Memphis. The For My Fans Tour, live at FedEx Forum Saturday, April 19th, with special guests Neo and Mario. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The iconic Mary J. Blige for one night only.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
A Price, starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Don't miss the new season of the Emmy-winning HBO original series The Last of Us, streaming Sunday at 9 p.m. exclusively on Max. We're in a good little run of HBO stuff right now,
Dude,
Bennett.
I'm fired up for this show.
We just wrapped up White Lotus Season 3. We're still right in the middle of The Righteous Gemstones, Season 4, the final season.
Yep.
And now we get White Lotus out of the way.
Yep.
And here comes The Last of Us.
So I don't even play the game. I've never played the game.
Never played the game
I hear
either.
the game's amazing, but I love the first season. I love Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. They're both awesome. I love a good post-apocalyptic thriller. I love a good post-apocalyptic thriller.
Oh, I think a lot of people do. But here's my thing. I watched season 1. I enjoyed season 1. But if you said right now, GP, what's The Last of Us about? I don't think I would give you a coherent answer. Like we talked about yesterday, I'm not great at retaining television stuff. I watch it, I enjoy it, and then I just forget about it. So I'm gonna need a refresher.
You're gonna need a refresher. I just finished the rewatch of season 1, and it was so good.
I can't even understand people who have time to rewatch things like that. How do you find time?
Oh, like when my family's asleep. Like there's you know this. I have trouble falling asleep. Yeah. I can't fall asleep before like midnight. Yeah. I don't know why. No matter how tired I am, it's really tough. It's an issue. So my family typically goes to bed around like 9:30.
But wouldn't you want to watch something you ain't never watched? There's so much stuff out there. Why you want to rewatch something? Don't you want to watch something you never seen?
Well, when a new season of something's coming on, or
can't you find like a 15-minute YouTube video get you caught up?
No, hang on. No, this same thing goes for movies. So when a new season of something's coming out, I want to revisit the first season or the previous season.
Okay. I respect it.
Like right now, we are watching all the Jurassic Park movies as a family because the new one comes out this summer and Noah wants to go see it.
Sure.
And so and I've seen them all a million times, but we're revisiting it all. It's fun. I like a good binge.
I'm not a revisitor. I don't revisit things.
To revisit.
I do it and then I move on. I hit it and quit it, so to speak.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think, but this one I'm really fired up about.
When it comes to movies and television shows, I'm more of a hit it and quit it type of guy.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. But you come back for seconds and thirds.
Yeah, I do. I do come back for seconds and thirds.
That's not my style.
It's definitely my style. I do watch, I obviously love exploring new things. I will watch the same shit over and over and over again.
I just don't do it. I don't even watch. I used to when I was younger.
It's like a comfort thing.
We would watch movies. You'd live in a house, you'd have roommates, and we'd watch the same movies all the time.
Yeah.
I never do that in my adult life. Now that I've matured, I don't do that anymore. I watch something, I say I like that, or I say I didn't like that.
Memories when you said that.
I say I like that or I didn't like that, and I move on to the next thing. Hit it and quit it.
My friend's house who we used to go to, I've seen Belly 5,000 times
Belly?
with DMX and Nas because my friend had the DVD.
Belly?
It's like one of my favorite movies of all time because of that. And I think it's like a nostalgia thing. Like he had the Belly DVD. He had like 4 DVDs and you're looking for stuff to watch. Like
you couldn't find nothing better than Belly?
Belly's a great movie.
I don't know. I can't speak on it. I don't never even heard of it.
You never heard of Belly? With DMX and Nas and Method Man?
I might have been drunk or something. I don't know.
Who else is in it? Who from TLC's in it, Jalen? I think it was T-Boz, maybe?
I don't know.
Movie's awesome.
Okay, maybe I'll check out Belly in my free time. But I tell you one thing.
Classic.
I won't watch it twice. I watch things one time.
That's it. Okay.
And then I move on. So I have seen season 1 of The Last of Us. I have no interest in watching it again. But I need a refresher course. And then I can't wait for season 2. And it starts this weekend.
Yes, it does.
Sunday. You can watch it live on HBO, 9 o'clock, or streaming exclusively on the Max app. Let's do GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies. Big game tonight inside FedEx Forum. 8:30 tip. 90 minutes later than normal. 8:30 tip. That's to accommodate the TNT broadcast. Timberwolves are in town. Yes, Anthony Edwards, one of the young stars in this world. Also Mike Conley, our old friend, former franchise point guard. Grizzlies trying to finish in the top 6 of the Western Conference standings. If you're going to do it, tonight is very, very, very important. Obviously, Grizzlies opened as a slight underdog at home. Everybody expected to be available other than the people you already know who will not be available. Timberwolves also, clean status report. They're ready to go. So all the stars going to be on the court tonight.
Let's go.
Let's go. This is a big one. 8:30 tip. Tickets available. Grizzlies.com.
What's today's biggest game?
Bennett, there's no other game tonight in the NBA that will impact the Grizzlies' playoff situation.
Okay.
In fact, the only other Western Conference team in action tonight beyond the Grizzlies and Timberwolves is the New Orleans Pelicans, and they stink,
Yeah, we
so
don't care.
we don't have to pay attention to that. So I guess I'm just going to take you to Cleveland. We'll do the first half of the TNT doubleheader, 6 o'clock tip. Cavs and Pacers from Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Pacers are minus 9.5.
What?
Totals 233.5. That means Cleveland's just not even going to play nobody.
Yeah, this is they're definitely not. Yeah, I'm looking at the injury report. We'll go Pacers. They are playing everybody, so we'll go Pacers.
Bennett said he's laying the 9.5 with the Pacers tonight. Shorthanded Cavaliers, 6 o'clock tip. You can watch it on TNT.
What are we watching on TV?
Can I interest you in Bad Influence?
Possibly.
3-part documentary just dropped on Netflix, #1 in shows today. Bad Influence, the dark side of kidfluencing. You know about these little kidfluencers? You know about influencers?
I do.
Influencers tend to be attractive young women.
Mm-hmm.
Or...
No, that's fair.
Or maybe attractive young men. I don't know.
That's fair, too.
And then there's kidfluencers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like quite literally kids. Like my kids are your kids. And they've built up these social media followings. And like there was one little fella. And there was like one fella. I can't remember his name. My kids grew out of it. But at one point they would go on YouTube and they'd watch this little kid open toys.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Ryan.
Ryan's World. Isn't that who
Ryan.
that is? Yeah.
I never
He's
liked
got like
him.
his own toy line.
I never liked him. I didn't like him. I found him annoying. But like he turned into a thing, and like that kid's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Dude, that stuff is crazy. Noah watches so much of it, and I'm just like,
yeah, it's bananas. How that like? Why are you watching this? I remembered especially like now my kids are watching things, and I kind of can get why they're watching them. I kind of understand it. But kids will go through a little phase where it's like, why are you glued to this?
And he wants to do it. Like he gets me to make videos of him, like, and he calls it a YouTube video, and it's just like him talking about toys and stuff.
My kids do all that too. You know, here's what has happened to children all over America.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Chris Moneymaker, the poker player, won the World Series of Poker on ESPN? And it was the story, like he was from here or from the area and or like lived here. I don't know. Like everybody I know who plays poker has played poker with him around here somewhere at some point, right? Anyway, this was the first. I might be making all this up. The way I remember it is this is like one of the first times, if not the first time, where they had cameras on your hole cards. So you were kind of watching poker in real time, and you could see the strategy behind it. And then this guy who was just like a normal guy won the whole thing and became a millionaire many times over. And it was like, it made it to where every person who had ever shuffled a deck of cards thought, well, maybe that could be me. And that's where the poker boom like took off. Because it was like, okay, I can't be a professional basketball player and I can't be a baseball player or a soccer player, make millions all those ways, but like, could I be a poker player? And they're telling me that this guy's not even like the best, but he just won the whole thing and now he's famous and worth millions. It created anybody could do this narrative connected to poker. And suddenly all over the world, people were like, the interest in poker rooms and online poker, it just went through the roof because it was like could I do this? If he could do it, why not me? And suddenly people are buying poker books and reading them cover to cover. And it created this idea of like, I guess anybody could do this, so why not me? Kidfluencers are the exact same thing for kids. Your son, my sons, they look at these otherwise normal people with no obvious talent other than what it is they're showing you on YouTube or TikTok and it's like, well, why can Logan Paul become Logan? What prevents me from being Logan Paul? What prevents me from being Ryan? What is special about these people? Like you can see Timothée Chalamet act and you go, well, I can't act like that.
Right.
Okay, I can't do that. Or you can see Cooper Flagg make a shot and you go, I can't do that. Okay, I can't do that. But you see somebody who is maybe just a couple years older than you, come from a neighborhood that looks just like yours, and they're just making videos and becoming rich and famous. Why can't I do that? So we've created a whole world where kids that's what they aspire to. They ain't saying, Mom, Dad, take me to the library so I can study all day so that maybe I can be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever else you want to be. You know what they're saying? Mom, Dad, get me an iPad, an iPhone, and some lighting and some editing equipment so that I can create videos and try to go viral and become rich and famous like every other kid I see on YouTube. I think it's a real problem.
It might be a problem.
I don't know how to fix it, though. Anyway, Netflix has got a documentary on it, and they definitely think it's a bad problem. Bad influence, the dark side of kid influence. There's a dark side to it, Bennett, and if you're interested in it, you can find it right now at Netflix.
What's the best thing we've read?
You know what? I got updated the top 25 and 1 this morning, version 3 already, and I wrote about Arizona adding a 5-star McDonald's All-American yesterday. So Tommy Lloyd, his program loses 2 starters, bring back 3 starters from a Sweet 16 team, and they've now added in the past 2 weeks 2 McDonald's All-Americans. So bring back 3 starters and then supplement them with McDonald's All-American, McDonald's All-American. That's good roster balance. That's how you end up with a national championship contender. Arizona up to number 6 in the top 25 and 1. You can read it at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow will be Friday, so we'll be looking back at one big game, getting ready for another one. Oh, it's going to be a big 24 hours, 48 hours, however many hours, Bennett.
Yeah, it is.
You better get you some rest. We got a long day ahead of us, Bennett. You don't look like you're ready for a long day. Let me see your game face one more time. That's it. That's Bennett's game face. We're ready to go. Tickets available for tonight. Grizzlies.com, 8:30 tip. Whatever happens, we'll be back here to talk about it tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.